Magician Recaps explains here. Today, we are going to explain an action, adventure, and sci-fi movie. The movie begins with 300 years after an incident called The Fall. Dr. Ito, a cyber surgeon, discovers a cyborg in a junkyard in Iron City. Despite its worst condition, its brain is intact and is still alive. Ito brings it home and repairs it. When the cyborg later wakes up, she wonders at her new form. She gets up with unfamiliar legs and studies herself in the mirror with an excitement. Afterward, she slowly creeps down the stairs to observe the people that brought her back. Ito checks if there are any malfunctions on her, but she just reveals she's rather hungry. She asks whether she knows Ito, and if he knows who she is. She cries upon realizing that she doesn't have her memories, but Ito assures her that she'll remember her memories eventually. Ito then takes her outside, where she's amazed by a city suspended in the air of Zalem. She asks if he has a name for her, so he calls her Alita. While Ito tours Alita around Iron City, he explains how people from everywhere arrived after the fall, but nobody from there is allowed to go to Zalem. Alita notices a sports show playing on TV called Motorball, but Ito tells her that it's not worth watching. When Ito leaves Alita alone after getting food, later on, she shares her food with a stray dog. She sees a wanted poster for a murderer who killed 6 women. A large police robot known as a Centurion arrives, but instead of stepping aside, Alita poses for battle, so Hugo pushes her to safety. However, the dog is still in the Centurion's way. Afterward, Hugo commends her skills and realizes that she's a cyborg. Ito returns and explains that Alita is new around the place. As Hugo leaves, Alita watches him even as Ito pulls her away. In the night, someone attacks a woman from behind. Later, Alita wakes up and notices Ito coming home with blood on his arm. The next morning, Alita watches Ito work and notices an injury on his arm. The cyborg patient tells he's a victim of cyborg body part stealers. He also mentions the serial murderer, so Ito tells Alita to be careful. Outside, Alita comes across Chiron, who observes her with interest. Alita walks away. Chiron then meets with Ito and asks about Alita, noting that she's using their deceased daughter's body. Chiron concludes that Ito still can't let go of their child's memory. Chiron offers Ito to work together to create motorball champions, so she can save enough money to return to Zalem. She adds further that Vector can make it happen. However, Ito refuses as he's certain that there's no way back to Zalem. Meanwhile, Alita finds Hugo playing motorball with friends, so he invites her to join. However, Alita struggles to keep up in the game and slams into a pole. When she tries scoring, Tanji knocks Alita down and steals the ball. Determined to score a point, Alita kicks Tanji's feet, making him stumble and allowing her to steal the ball and score. Later on, Hugo offers Alita a ride home. While they bond, Hugo points out Zappin, a bounty hunter known as a hunter warrior, whose sword catches Alita's attention. That night, Alita notices Ito going out, so she follows and sees Ito stalking a cloaked woman. He readies his weapon, so Alita jumps to stop him. However, Ito realizes it's a trap when they get cornered by Gruishka and Romo, who recognizes Ito as a hunter warrior. Ito pushes Alita aside as he fights but is immediately beaten when the cloaked woman, Nishiana, reveals herself to be an enemy. Ito tells Alita to run, but instead, she leaps at Romo and punches him to death. Nishiana reveals her cyborg body and swings her blades at Alita. Meanwhile, Ito attacks Gruishka but is no match against him. After rolling away from Nishiana's onslaught of attacks, Alita kicks her to the wall, bashing her head in. Gruishka then challenges her. Alita evades his fists and kicks him on the head. As she descends to land, Alita sees a memory of herself in a battle where she's called 99. Alita's kick breaks Gruishka's arm, but he escapes. Afterward, Ito claims the bounty on Nishiana, explaining that he uses the money to offer free repairs in the clinic. Alita confronts him about her memories, so Ito confesses that Alita's body and name belonged to his deceased daughter. His daughter was wheelchair-bound, so Ito built her a cyborg body. However, the real Alita was murdered after one of Ito's crazed patients broke into the clinic, and it's actually the reason why Chiron left him. Ito exacted vengeance, but he got no peace even after killing his daughter's murderer, so he registered as a hunter warrior. Ito reveals that Alita's heart is powered by an antimatter microreactor that can power Iron City for years. Since the fall, the technology hasn't been made, so Ito concludes that Alita is over 300 years old. In Vector's place, he demands Chiron to make motorball champions for him. Gruishka suddenly bursts through the window and begs for repair. Though Chiron refuses to, she reconsiders when he says Alita did it to him. The following day, Chiron notices that Gruishka is wired. Although Vector isn't interested in helping, his disposition changes when Gruishka speaks in the voice of Nova, a powerful scientist in Zalem. When Nova asks what happened to Gruishka, Vector and Chiron explain that Alita defeated him, though perturbed how she has such force. Nova deduces that Alita's knowledge of the Panzer-cursed fighting techniques allowed her to do such damage. Nova orders Chiron to rebuild Gruishka so he can bring Alita to him dead. Nova then transfers to Vector's body and promises that he'll bring Chiron to Zalem if she pleases him. Meanwhile, Ito and Alita discover that Gruishka is off the bounty list, so someone must be protecting him. Immediately, Alita insists on becoming a hunter-warrior to remember her past. Ito refuses to let her, so she runs away. Alita joins Hugo in a motorball match where he explains that a final champion of motorball gets to go to Zalem. During the game, a player, Kanuba, and his weapon called grindcutters catch Chiron's attention. Suddenly, Tanji calls Hugo for an important matter, so they leave the match. When Kanuba goes outside later, two masked motorcyclists try to bring him down. Kanuba fights back, but more masked figures electrocute him before the assailant's truck arrives to pull him in. While the crew removes Kanuba's parts, Vector arrives to compliment their work. Hugo removes his mask, revealing himself and his friends as the masked assailants. Vector pays the crew and tells them to deliver the parts to Chiron. Afterward, Vector finishes off Kanuba. The next day, Hugo and his friends take Alita outside the city. They explain how the war wiped out everything outside Iron City, and all the sky cities fell after going against the United Republic of Mars. Only Zalem survived that war. They show her a sunken warship, hoping to trigger Alita's memory. Alita hurriedly recognizes it and treads into the water to get inside. Slowly crawling through the damaged ship, she rises from the water and reaches the command deck. She opens another room with a huge orb inside and instinctively navigates the control board. The orb then unveils an unused cyborg body. Alita takes the body to Ito and asks him to replace her body with it, but he refuses. Ito finally reveals that she's a Berserker, one of the most advanced cyborg weapons ever created, hence why he won't unite her with the body. Tearfully, Alita leaves. Alita registers as a hunter-warrior herself. Later on, Alita goes to a bar for bounty hunters with Hugo. Zappin notices her and warns that she'll be competing with them for kills. Alita is not swayed and instead asks the hunter-warriors for help in defeating Gruishka. The others merely laugh at the notion. Zappin then mockingly offers to train Alita, but she declines training with someone who spends all his money on his face. Insulted, Zappin threatens her, but she quickly smashes his head on a table. Zappin swings his blade at Alita, so she kicks him back. Alita turns to the hunter-warriors, saying she's not impressed by the so-called heroes of Iron City. She challenges everyone, and they must help her cause if she beats them. She kicks the hunters' drinks on their faces, instigating a brawl. Ito arrives and tries to intervene. He threatens to stop repairing everyone for free, so everyone stops fighting. Suddenly, the newly repaired Gruishka arrives, and Hugo immediately sees the grindcutters on him. Nobody wants to fight Gruishka because he doesn't have a bounty on his head. When the stray dog that Alita saves starts growling at Gruishka, he commends its courage but kills it. Though Thierry, the hunter-warrior, McTeague, who has an affinity for dogs, still refuses to fight, using the dog's blood to mark her face for battle. Right away, Gruishka attacks with his grindcutters, so Alita evades them. Gruishka makes a hole on the floor before jumping down, and dares Alita to follow, so she does. Underground, using his new weapon, Gruishka continuously attacks Alita, who evades. When she tries to attack him head-on, Gruishka manages to cut Alita's body into pieces. Suddenly, she sees another memory where her martial instructor, Gelda, told her that Nova was the enemy. In the present, Alita uses her remaining arm to push herself up and pierce through Gruishka's eye. But before Gruishka can retaliate, Ito and Hugo arrive. McTeague unleashes his cyborg dogs on Gruishka as vengeance for the stray dog, forcing him to flee. With no other choice, Ito reunites Alita with the Berserker body, which shifts to Alita's subconscious image of herself. When she wakes up in her new body, she immediately thanks Ito and shows it off. Alita soon walks with Hugo to show off her body's new features. After noting that she's a lot more touch-sensitive, Hugo makes Alita close her eyes as he leans to kiss her. Meanwhile, Hugo assures that he's working hard to get Vector 1,000,000 credits to send him to Zalem, but Vector is interested in discussing Alita. Hugo suggests that Alita should join Motorball and become a champion. Soon Alita gets ready for the game while Ito adds safety gears on her since he doesn't know how to fix her technology. Unknown to them, Vector has employed the help of hunter warriors to kill Alita while playing motorball. Meanwhile, Hugo calls out to Tanji, who's currently stealing parts from a cyborg. As Tanji confronts him, Hugo admits that he wants to quit what they're doing. The friends get into a scuffle but stop when Zappin arrives. Tanji tries to defend Hugo, but Zappin quickly slices Tanji in half. Immediately, Hugo throws fiery ammunition at Zappin and escapes. Meanwhile, Ito notices that the players aren't challengers but hunter warriors. Seeing Alita enter the game's field, Vector is glad that Hugo brought her right to them. Before motorball starts, Ito warns Alita that her opponents are out to kill her. Though outmatched, she still decides that she can take them all. As the ball is launched, Alita rushes for it while her opponents immediately jump her. Amidst the battle, Hugo calls Alita for help against Zappin, so she leaves to save him. Zappin catches up to Hugo, but Alita kicks him off. However, Alita sees Hugo on a bounty sign, hinting that he's wanted for murder. Hugo confesses that he jacked cyborgs for parts but asserts that he never killed anyone. Alita still chooses to protect Hugo, and slams Zappin on the wall. Hugo confesses that he tore cyborgs apart, though he assures her that he wanted to quit because he loves her. Chiron finds the two, but when Vector calls her, she tells him that they're gone. When Alita goes outside, she presents Hugo's head. However, Zappin realizes that Hugo's head is attached to Alita's body, keeping him alive. Zappin tries to take Hugo, but the Centurions mistake this as him stealing another's bounty, allowing Alita to take his sword and slice his face. The next day, they attach Hugo's head to a cyborg body with Chiron's help. Ito reveals that the only way to get to Zalem is by becoming a motorball champion. Ito confesses that he was born in Zalem, but Nova exiled his family because of their daughter's illness. Meanwhile, Vector questions why Chiron let Alita go. Chiron contends that she's a doctor and a mother, thus, she quits her partnership with him. Finally, Alita leaves to confront Vector. When Centurions demand her surrender her weapon, she uses Zappin's blade to slice at them easily. She soon drops into Vector's office. Suddenly, Gruishka arrives and hits Alita. While in pain, Alita sees a glimpse of when she fought against Zalem. A barrier wiped out her team on the tube that connected Zalem to Iron City. When she almost fell, Gelda held onto her, reminding her to finish the mission and destroy Zalem. Alita's body regenerates from Gruishka's attack. Gruishka strikes her again, but Alita slices his grind cutters, then cuts his body in half. Vector then pleads for his life. Pissed, she kills Vector's body. Months pass, and Alita is now a contender in the Motorball Champions League. Despite a chance to go to Zalem, she's still grieving her loss. As she steps into the arena, all eyes are on her, including Nova's. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.